The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Filmjitsu, the podcast that wields films like deadly weapons. We are your hosts. I am Mike.
And I am Jay.
Welcome to a very spooky Halloween edition of Filmjitsu, my favorite time of the year, that we started an entire week late for no reason whatsoever. And what better way to kick off Halloween season than with all the spooky fun of Tales from the Crypt, that 90s era HBO television show. And what we are spending time with today is 1996's Bordello of Blood. Jason's going to give us a full review before we get into our bottom 5 of Bloods. We're going to do a dueling double bill, and then Jason reveals what his spooky revenge is for the film that I made him watch this week. Speaking of which, kids, grab your crucifixes, get your popcorn ready as we sit down for a terrifying trip through Tales from the Crypt. Jason, let's go ahead and roll the trailer.
From a secret grave in a distant land, Hell's Madam has risen again. And now she's back in business at the Bordello of Blood, where customers go in.
Evening, boys.
This is deep.
But they don't come out.
Mr. Gutman, have you found my brother yet?
He and a friend of his evidently went to a local brothel.
Are you ready?
Welcome to a new chapter in terror.
At least now she'll know what's eating him. She is.
Lucy, I'm home.
From Universal Pictures,
It's holy water, man.
Dennis Miller.
You are out of here. Cha-ching.
Tales from the Crypt presents Bordello of Blood.
Jay, this week we are headed into the sleaziest vampire den this side of basic cable. Bordello of Blood, a film about Dennis Miller looking for a prostitute, and there are vampires, something like that. I don't know. Yeah. He finds a brothel run by vampires, which I assume all brothels are run by vampires. I'm not really sure. But I wanted you to watch this film because I wanted to take this seasonal opportunity for us to chat a little bit about Tales from the Crypt, the show, maybe Demon Night. And then, of course, I had to ruin it by making you watch the bad one because at the end of the day, trick or treat, this is Filmjitsu.
Well, I have to thank you for not making me watch what is apparently considered the third of the Tales from the Crypt movies, because originally they signed a 3-picture deal with Universal, and there was a third one ended up somehow routing through Dimension Films and was called Ritual, and it had the Crypt Keeper, who's the host of Tales from the Crypt, in case you didn't know. He's a skeletal puppet. This movie was set in Jamaica or something like that, and so of course he had Rastafarian cap and dreads.
Oh boy.
Yes. So thank you for not making me watch that one. I got the one with the boobs instead. Well played, Merrigan.
Most of them have the boobs. And this is an important part of Tales from the Crypt because Tales from the Crypt originally aired on HBO.
Yep.
I didn't have HBO at my house growing up. So the 2 weeks a year where you would get free HBO, they were trying like the first taste is free. Mm-hmm. That was like a 2-week smut fiesta. It was very 90s. I was a real problem. But of course, you pointed out to me once that I love horror comedy. And it was something I hadn't really realized about myself until you said it. And I was like, oh yeah, it turns out that I do. And I wonder if maybe the genesis of that love starts with Tales from the Crypt, with all the puns and the wordplay and the grim gory cartoon come to life that show was. I'd love to know what your relationship to Tales from the Crypt was before we even talk about the movie. What was your relationship with the show?
I never really cared for it much.
Really?
So I loved the stories that were in the middle. I couldn't stand the Crypt Keeper. I found him very annoying.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was particularly funny. He was voiced by a actor named John Kassir. And honestly, the guy's a fine performer. And the animatronics that they use in the puppet work is very fine. The design is good of the Crypt Keeper. It's just that even when it was in its original form in the comic books, back when they were EC Comics, it just came off as infantile and stupid. Those old EC Comics, they were pulp rags. They came out with a lot of different ones that were like real crime stories or something along those lines. And then, of course, Tales from the Crypt. All of those ended up being adapted on this show. It didn't just draw from Tales from the Crypt. It drew from other sources, but they were all from those comic books. What's interesting is that the movies are not. The movies are basically they just get the label slapped on them. And they sort of kind of have the Tales from the Crypt vibe. I would argue, based on what I know about the three movies, this one probably is the one that lands closest to what an episode of Tales from the Crypt really felt like.
Right.
But I had been a big fan of anthology television on cable and on regular TV during this time. We had the 80s reboots of The Twilight Zone and Alfred Hitchcock Presents, both of which I was a huge fan of. Steven Spielberg had come out with amazing stories. On HBO, I remember very, very well watching Ray Bradbury Presents, as well as The Hitcher, which again, thriller and boobs. So, but I liked those a lot more than Tales from the Crypt. And it was funny when they brought Freddy Krueger to television with the Nightmare on Elm Street show, Freddy's Nightmares. That really mirrored what Tales from the Crypt was.
It's funny that you mentioned that because the director of Bordello of Blood, Gilbert Adler, directed one episode of Freddy's Nightmares back in the 80s. Then he also did this movie and, as best I can tell, about 3 episodes of late 90s television, probably an episode of Charmed and that kind of thing.
He did an episode of Charmed,
Right. So we're not dealing with a real powerhouse creative here.
No, but he is one of the 3 founders of Dark Castle Entertainment, which is insane if you consider who his partners were there. Robert Zemeckis, good God, the famed writer, director, producer, powerhouse, most remembered for, I guess, maybe Forrest Gump or Who Framed Roger Rabbit or so many different films, Castaway, What Lies Beneath. Anyway, then you've got Joel Silver, the Uber producer that is known for, I don't know, things like Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, Predator, Demolition Man, the Matrix movies. These 2 guys, and then for some reason, Gilbert Adler. What is he doing with the other 2? I don't understand.
Biding his time, I guess, until the early 2000s when he got into the producing game and produced such classics like 13 Ghosts and Ghost Ship.
Yes.
We have Gilly Adler to thank for those gems. So he's made his contributions over the years for sure. And so here, stepping into the director's chair, we get a film where, for some reason, Dennis Miller.
Let me lay it out for you. I got a nice, tidy way to get through this.
Okay, yes.
Anyone
please.
remember Erica Eleniak?
Uh-huh.
In this movie, she plays a Bible-thumping producer who's working with an evangelist played by Fright Night's Chris Sarandon to bring his holy rock and rollin' show to the masses. But when her miscreant teenage brother, who's played by Corey Feldman, yes, the Corey Feldman, when he disappears, Eleniak is rebuffed by the police, who are overwhelmed with, missing persons cases. And she instead turns to, Dennis Miller, a washed-up detective who trolls the police station with a single business card looking for work.
The one thing I know about this movie is that it is ruined from any of that cartoonish Tales from the Crypt fun by a almost out of place Dennis Miller, who is basically just doing his stand-up on the run.
Yeah. It does feel that way. It feels like he made up a lot of these lines on set.
Yeah, and it feels like Dennis Miller's mid-90s stand-up comedy with this backdrop that doesn't make sense. And so it's almost anachronistic because we're trying to have this pulled out of the comics cartoon come to life with the puns and the wordplay and all that stuff. And then there's just like, hey, babe, Dennis Miller in the middle of it for no reason. Babe. And ruins the whole time.
Miller thinks he's the funniest guy in the room. Yep. His superiority complex makes him nigh unwatchable. You don't care at all what happens to him. And he's always trying to hit on Eleniak because who wouldn't? Sure. But she's this like holy roller. So he's always getting rebuffed by the fact that she's like one with Jesus or whatever. The fact that she turns to him is crazy. She walks into a police station. She's really worried about her shithead brother, who, by the way, Corey Feldman could not be cast better in this as a slimy little shit. She walks into this police station. They kind of tell her, oh, we're busy when they're eating and whatever and getting shit all over their shirts and stuff. And Miller walks in and he's like, hey, what's going on? I happen to be a detective. Why don't I help you out? Awesome tits you got there. And then it's just so fucking ridiculous that she would even have a conversation with this guy. Right. She comes to her senses a few times and tries to get away from him, but he keeps working the case, which in and of itself is ludicrous, because why would a washed up detective be working the case?
Right.
Are you still here, man?
I'm still here, and that cue ball's still potted. See, you boys both have the nose thing. Maybe you're watching a little too much QVC, huh?
That's quick. Fuck you.
Consider me fucked.
Turns out that Feldman and a buddy went to a whorehouse hidden in the local mortuary. You have to like climb into a coffin to get into the den of iniquity.
That's where you want your whorehouses.
Yeah, that's where you want it. And he apparently fell victim to Lilith, who's played by Angie Everhart. Everhart is in control of a bevy of bodacious bloodsuckers within the mortuary. Shenanigans ensue, including some exploding hookers that definitely reminded me of Frankenhooker. And a plot is revealed that Sarandon's evangelist character was working with a pint-sized Indiana Jones, who's played by the well-known dwarf actor Phil Fondacaro, who happened to have a key that could control Lilith, Angie Everhart. Sarandon and his little buddy were working to punish sinners by empowering Lilith to feed on them. But it all got out of hand, and when Eleniak is captured by Lilith, we get a final standoff between unlikely allies Miller and Sarandon and Lilith's army of vampire whores. That is Bordello of Blood. It sounds awesome.
It should be fun.
It's not fun at all. The way that this movie read to me was like rich, successful white dudes in Hollywood trying to prove that they still have an edge. Robert Zemeckis is all over this. By the way, he wrote Bordello of Blood along with writing partner Bob Gale, who, if you might remember, was also Zemeckis' co-writer and co-creator of the Back to the Future series. Apparently, the source material for this was created many, many, many years prior, when writers Zemeckis and Gale were young, aspiring filmmakers looking to break into the business. And then when Demon Knight hit, the first Tales from the Crypt movie starring Billy Zane and Jada Pinkett and William Sadler, when that movie came out, they had to move fast to try to make another one. And they must have just picked up this script and said, hey, well, we got this one laying around. It's the right kind of vibe. And they went ahead and Gilbert Adler rewrote it with A.L. Katz. And Adler did not want Miller and he did not want Everhart. But apparently his hand was forced and he had to work with them. And Everhart's not bad. I mean, she fits the role well enough, but she can't really act. So she doesn't have a lot of charisma. And I don't want to beat the dead horse here, but good Lord. I think that the movie ultimately really suffers under Dennis Miller. Everybody else is pretty much game to do what has to happen here and play to the script. Chris Sarandon, who is the best thing about this movie.
There was never any question.
Without a doubt. He's just grabbing any moment he can to overpronounce his pulpit proclamations, and they're really fucking funny. But his character truly makes zero sense. Like, he's working with Lilith through his dwarf friend who found the key that's from the first movie, by the way. The Demon Knight had this key in that movie. Now Phil Fondacaro finds it in a cold open that looks like it was shot in the world's most inhospitable place because they're surrounded by gnats.
Oh,
just hundreds and hundreds of these things. This was the scariest part of the whole movie by far. I was like, oh shit, what is this? They're just covered with them and they're not swatting them or anything. These guys are just delivering lines and they're like crawling all over everything. I'm like, man.
In search of a demon key.
Yeah, the old cold open is they find a demon key. Lilith is resurrected when the 4 chambers of her heart melt back together that Phil Fondacaro's character, Vincent, has. And then when she comes back to life and kills his party, except for him, he pulls out the key from Demon Knight. He's got it. And now he controls her. So he works with Chris Sarandon to control Lilith, Angie Everhart. Now, if I had control over Angie Everhart,
I shudder to imagine what a young Jason Santo might do with the key to Angie Everhart.
I'd shudder to know what an old Jason Santo would do.
You know, I saw you back at the house. And when I did, I knew you were special.
I'll bet you say that to all the boys, don't you?
Yeah, but with you, I mean it.
Listen, Lilith, I'm reasonably sure you're the type of woman who's never heard the expression half-cocked, but that is exactly what this gun is, and I swear to God I'll use it.
You wouldn't shoot these now, would you? Go on. You can touch them. I'll let you.
My favorite episode of Tales from the Crypt does not have any nudity in it, but it does have Ed Begley Jr.
The BDE.
Yeah, that's right. We found out that Ed Begley Jr.'s balance in his trousers is, I guess, out of whack, as we'll say. And so, but he was in an episode called Death of Some Salesman, where he shows up at this farmhouse and there's this kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre family that takes him in. He plays a con man, but all 3 members of this family, Ma, Pa, and Winona, are played by Tim Curry in different states of elaborate makeup.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
No nudity in it. No nudity. What you do have is a really pretty graphic sex scene between Tim Curry as Winona and Ed Begley Jr., who we recently found out is a gifted thespian. So,
oh my God.
Well, another fact that I think is fun is that John Kassir, who is the voice of the Crypt Keeper, now he's a very nice guy. He does all of the horror conventions. And I think for pretty short money, John Kassir will record your voicemail as the Crypt Keeper. I think you pass the guy $60 or so, and you have the Crypt Keeper now doing your voicemail, which is pretty cool.
It's a good voice actor. Yeah.
Great voice actor. He's done a lot of stuff, but yeah, obviously this is his most popular role for sure. And I wish that I had had the good sense to get a John Kassir voicemail.
Take my advice, pal. Quit while you're ahead.
So let's talk about exploding vampires and how the practical effects of Bordello of Blood are actually pretty great. Yes, I found it very reminiscent of my beloved Frankenhooker. They just had a little more money here, but there were literally moments where they did jump cuts from live action actresses to mannequins that looked just like them that were then exploding. So it was the old Henenlotter trick. I'm sure he hated this movie, but it was cool to see that level of gore in a major release.
Yeah.
The usage of super soakers to blow up the vampires was interesting because that is ripped wholesale from a movie that was roughly 10 years earlier, The Lost Boys, anyone?
Right.
And not only that, but Corey Feldman turns into a vampire, but he was one of the Frog Brothers in The Lost Boys,
right,
along with the other Corey Haim. And how did they kill the vampires in that movie? Squirt guns filled with holy water. Well, here he's killed with a super soaker filled with holy water. I imagine it had to have been intentional, but it was a huge part of the plot. So I don't know if it just seemed ridiculous to me that that was here and that nobody stopped and thought, hey, maybe we shouldn't rip this off.
I mean, 1996 was truly a golden age of super soaking. That's what that was about. We can all agree. What else were you going to kill vampires with in that year, Jason?
Wooden stakes? No.
No, not when super soakers are just on the shelves.
And that's why this movie fails, because it has no stakes.
Oh,
sorry.
Womp. I insist that you leave that in and suffer that for the rest of your life.
Oh, God.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
As you've said, Mike, we've had some real thinkers and some real stinkers for our bottom fives. And while I'm hopeful this one will be one of our more fun bottom five concepts, I'm also very aware of how quickly this could go downhill.
Right.
So,
right.
Our bottom five of Bloods.
Bloods.
The mission, as I saw it, was deceptively simple. Choose a non-horror movie and append the phrase of blood to the title and craft a bottom five horror movie concept. So with that in mind, how did you interpret this and what was your number five?
This is one of those bottom fives that are so goofy. I either treat it like a complete joke or I take it way too seriously.
Yeah.
In this case, given that Halloween is certainly no laughing matter, I went serious. I took the assignment seriously. I know the impulse here is to think of movies that are the complete opposite of horror and then just tack on of blood to the end, right?
Yeah.
Bridget Jones's Diary of Blood or 16 Candles of Blood, yada, yada, yada. I felt like I could dig a little deeper and I wanted to turn the movie into a horror film and also find a way to represent some of my favorite genres of horror in the process.
Oh my God, we did the same thing.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to ruin a movie by making it horror.
Me too.
But also kind of celebrate the horror season. And so, with that said, my number five, I give you Drop Dead Fred of Blood. That's right.
Oh my God.
Phoebe Cates, here's the pitch. Here's the movie.
Yeah.
Phoebe Cates plays Elizabeth, who has an imaginary friend that returns when she visits her childhood home. But in this version, he is not a mischievous troublemaker. Fred has possessed Elizabeth, slowly unraveling her sanity. Fred grows stronger, feeding on Elizabeth's loneliness and anger, and then her friends start turning up dead in increasingly playful ways. And all she can do is blame her imaginary friend, Fred.
I love that.
Elizabeth has to face the terrifying truth. Fred might not have been imaginary after all.
Yeah, love it.
I also decided to give a tagline for all of these films. So for Drop Dead Fred of Blood, it's very simple. Playtime is over.
Yes.
Drop Dead Fred is this sweet comedy where this woman is imagining her childhood imaginary friend and he's causing her all of this mischief. And I was like, okay, that's a human losing their mind.
Your version's Drop Dead Fred by way of smile.
Yeah.
It
represents a possession film for me, is what it is. This is my possession.
See, the way I saw this was, what's the elevator pitch for a horror reboot of something that was totally not horror?
Right.
That's the way I looked at it. And then the problem is that I ended up loving the movie. So bottom five is pretty loose.
Yeah.
Because it's a bottom 5 title, but then when I reworked the stories, I ended up loving, like, we need to go into business. We need to start writing films because some of the shit will be awesome. All right, well, let me just start with this one. Ready? Just the title alone. Ready? On Golden Pond of Blood.
You son of a bitch.
What? Did you do it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's hear the different. Okay, let's see who's different.
This is amazing.
Okay, we're going to have competing pitches for On Golden Pond of Blood.
And then everybody can write in and tell us which version of On Golden Pond of Blood they want to see.
Jay or Mike.
How did you arrive at this?
The first thing I thought of was On Golden Pond.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I envisioned it as a home invasion movie.
Okay.
So we have this 1981 Oscar-winning drama from director Mike Riddell. But here we give it, I don't know, like a Wes Craven sort of treatment. Like The Hills Have Eyes or The Last House on the Left, Wes Craven treatment.
Yep.
And we turn this into like a lakefront nightmare.
Okay.
So we have Henry Fonda still and Katharine Hepburn still return as Norman and Ethel Thayer. Only this time, daughter Jane, who's still Jane Fonda, leaves behind not a sweet young boy for the summer, but a sociopathic problem child who starts turning their quiet lakeside retreat into a siege of psychological torture.
Okay.
Gone are the tender lessons about aging and forgiveness, and in their place are booby traps, drownings, and Katharine Hepburn clutching a shotgun in her nightgown while whispering to Fonda, "I'm your knight in shining armor."
It sounds kind of like Funny Games.
Yeah, it's a Haneke thing. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
So the wholesome boat crash and the water rescue in the original, now it's the kid holding Norman underwater only to let him live just long enough to do it again. And by the end, Jane Fonda comes back and the boy's father, they come back from their cavorting in Europe to find her parents transformed into blood-soaked survivalists with their cabin rigged like the third act of a gore-soaked Home Alone, and the kid is dead. And the kid's father
You killed the kid?
Yeah, man.
Holy shit, Santo.
And the kid's father ends up impaled when he trips over a fishing line, and his body falls atop his son's. But the finale, you still get the geese flying off over the water.
Right.
They're just carrying scraps of the boy and the dad with them.
Jay, that took such a dark turn in the last act of the... And I want to remind you that we talk often on this show about how the entire point of Filmjitsu is that maybe one day our kids will listen to this crazy show. And I just want to point out the fact that you just completely envisioned a scenario where like a small child is torn to shreds.
Yeah, but he was tormenting them.
I love
it.
It.
Revenge on their part. The old people win.
So here's my pitch. I saw this very much as a Friday the 13th situation. Norman and Ethel return to their lakeside cabin expecting another summer of peace and connection, but local wildlife start washing up mutilated on the shore.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Norman attributes to the local bears. Ethel is a little bit more skeptical about what's going on. Their daughter arrives with her boyfriend and their teenage son, and tensions rise.
Yeah.
But so does the body count. A killer emerges from the pond wearing a bucket hat like Henry Fonda.
That's great.
And a mask made from old fishing nets.
I love it.
Armed with hooks and knives and an outboard motor, the killer begins stalking the Thayers in search of some kind of revenge. Norman's failing memory is both a curse and a clue because he might have known this killer once before.
Oh, that's good.
The tagline here, On Golden Pond of Blood, where you can't outswim the past.
Oh, that's good. I'd watch both of those movies. I think that either one would be great. It's funny. They kind of, again, we're exposing our tastes a little bit.
Yes.
You love slashers, you know, and I love like intense psychological torment.
Just the darkest family trauma you can think of.
Pretty much. So, and on that note, my number 4 is a move in a completely different direction. I'm a little afraid now that we've overlapped one. I'm starting to get nervous because this one also came to me very, very quickly.
Okay.
Legally Blonde of Blood.
No, I did not think of this.
What if Elle Woods didn't just prove them wrong, she proved them dead wrong? In this blood-soaked satire, Reese Witherspoon returns as Elle, but instead of enduring condescension from Harvard's old money elite, she snaps in heels. Her sleazy law professor, Victor Garber, gets crushed under a copy machine filled with legal briefs. Her ex-boyfriend, Warner Huntington III, played by Matthew Davis, and his fiancée, Vivian, played by Selma Blair, are harpooned together mid-romantic cruise while celebrating their re-engagement. When her sorority sister, Brooke Taylor Wyndham, played by Allie Larder, stands trial for murder, Elle decides to take over the case by eliminating the entire courtroom. Cue a perfect day needle drop over her slow-mo murder spree.
Wow.
Chutney, played by Linda Cardellini, she was the stepdaughter of the murdered guy in the actual movie. She confesses after a saw-like torture sequence, and Elle walks away scot-free with a surprise ending that finds Luke Wilson decapitated right as he was about to propose to Elle.
Oh, God! Oh, I did not see that coming!
It's Mean Girls by way of American Psycho. It's Legally Blonde of Blood.
Wow. Yeah, I was getting real American Psycho vibes from all of that. I love that. That is
or
great.
More so than American Psycho, the film Promising Young Woman, which, yeah, it would be very similar to that.
I love it. I'm glad that we managed to find a way to turn Miss Reese Witherspoon into a more terrifying human creature than I already find her to be. My number 4, we got to take a jump back here. My number 4 is Beethoven of Blood.
Oh, the dog.
The dog.
So isn't this Cujo?
No. Charles Grodin and his family adopt a massive Saint Bernard. His name is Beethoven. And at first, he's just messy and destructive, chewing shoes and drooling on everything. But at night, things start getting strange. Beethoven's late night howling begins to echo like music in these low, hypnotic tones. The eldest daughter becomes suspicious of Beethoven's origins and starts researching where the dog came from. She traces him back to a satanic cult who tried to capture the music of hell in one final symphony.
What the fuck?
Beethoven, it seems, is not a lovable family pet, but a vessel orchestrating the release of the devil himself. It's kind of like an Omen situation. The tagline here is, Beethoven, the monster has been unleashed.
That's good. That's playing off the original tagline, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't want to make this a werewolf movie. That was the easy thing to do. So instead, Beethoven, we're unlocking the sounds of hell through this.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I
giant
just got the pun.
Demonic dog.
I just got the pun.
You just got the pun. The monster has been unleashed. You got it?
No, Beethoven.
Oh,
Beethoven symphony music. No, that's right over my head.
Over your head entirely.
I'm just thinking about that stupid drooling dog.
No.
It's such an asshole.
No, that's
God
it. That's why he's called Beethoven, buddy. That's it.
So good. My number 3 is probably pretty obvious. Again, I'm a little worried, but you said you didn't take too many beloved dramas.
It's impossible that you have my remaining films. It's impossible. I will bet the lives of my family on it.
Okay, good. My number 3 is Field of Dreams of Blood.
Right.
If you build it, they will die. See, I had a couple of these too.
Yes, good job. If you build it, they will die. I love it.
So I'm thinking this is a splatter reinterpretation of Phil Alden Robinson's Heartland fantasy, with Kevin Costner still hearing voices in his Iowa cornfield, only this time they're whispering from beneath the soil, not beyond the grave. Instead of resurrected ball players, what claws their way out are the rotting corpses of those same athletes.
When you stop and think about it, Field of Dreams is already a horror movie. It's full of ghosts.
Is. I'm just turning it into...
You're just doing it.
Yeah, just really getting it. You know, they're bitter that they've been consigned to baseball purgatory. You know, James Earl Jones, he would naturally still give an inspirational speech, but midway through, he would just get eviscerated by a barbed wire baseball bat swung by Shoeless Joe, Ray Liotta, who's getting cinematic vengeance on whoever was responsible for his being cast in the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege tale.
That's right. Fair.
The film ends with Costner's Ray Kinsella realizing too late that he's opened a portal to hell. And as the undead ghosts march toward his farmhouse, he whispers, "Dad, want to have a catch?" before being tackled and devoured. This is, of course, directed by Sam Raimi.
That's so good. And like the final shot is a mitt falling to the ground and the baseball sort of rolling out covered in blood. It's so good.
Perfect.
So good. I'm impressed. Well, my number 2 is not that, but it is related to sports. So we're in the same idea here. My number 2 is Hoop Dreams of Blood.
There you go.
Where the landmark documentary directed by filmmaker Steve James becomes a full-on zombie movie. Arthur and William are 2 supremely talented high school basketball players with dreams of going pro. We see their struggles, the pressure of school and family life and ultra-competitive sports. And then a zombie virus breaks out in Chicago, turning everyone Arthur and William knows into brain-eating ghouls. The film switches from a groundbreaking documentary to a found footage urban nightmare.
That's good. Yeah.
Do we explore universal themes of growing up and relating to our parents and pursuing our dreams, even perhaps the American dream? Sure we do. Do we also explore the universal horror of flesh-eating monsters chasing our heroes across the city and turning their dreams of pro basketball into long-forgotten fantasies as they simply struggle to stay alive one more day? Also, yes.
Perfect.
One of the greatest documentaries in American cinema is now a found footage zombie flick. I hope you're happy, Santo. This is your fault. You came up with this idea. I
love it.
Ruined Hoop Dreams.
You didn't ruin Hoop Dreams. It made it better. It's great.
Hoop Dreams might be the perfect documentary. And here is the tagline for my version. Hoop Dreams of Blood. The game was only the beginning.
Yeah. It works. Yeah, I like it a lot. That's good. Another ball that's just covered in blood, right?
That's right. Of course. Yes.
Perfect. Number 2, technically kind of sporty as well. Chariots of Fire of Blood. This inspirational 1981 drama about faith and friendship and track and field. It gets reimagined as a dystopian death race. Instead of Olympic glory, Eric Liddell and Harold Abrams find themselves drafted into a government-sponsored competition where runners must literally outrun weaponized chariots armed with spinning blades and flamethrowers. Each lap ends with a fresh miracle of carnage, and the iconic slow-motion beach run becomes a stretch of coastline littered with landmines and burning corpses.
Wow.
Vangelis's theme still plays, only now it's remixed with chainsaws and tortured screams.
It would have to be, yeah.
And as the body count climbs, Liddell prays for salvation mid-sprint, while Abrams rigs his competitor's sneakers with explosives, all leading to a final act where the 2 men must run not for God or country, but to cross a finish line at the threshold of hell.
Wow. It's like Death Race 2000 meets Battle Royale meets
That's right.
Chariots of Fire.
Meets Chariots of Fire. Yes. Meets The Running Man. Yes.
Meets The Running Man.
I would definitely televise all this.
Of course. You'd have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's no
Richard Dawson, he would be in it.
That's excellent.
I love it.
Chariots of Fire of Blood. Has there ever been a movie with a title that is more of a letdown once you find out what the movie's actually about? You're like, Chariots of Fire, that sounds fucking... Does George Miller direct that? And you're like, nope, it's mostly short shorts. It's like, okay.
Oh, thanks.
That's if you made me run for as much, that's what my thighs would be. My thighs would just be Chariots of Fire after all the running. Jay, my number one. I'm pretty proud of this one.
Okay. Oh,
I really am.
Right.
I'm taking on of blood and turning it into a double of blood. My number one is from legendary Japanese director Akira Kurosawa, and the movie is Throne of Blood of Blood.
Wow.
Yes. Throne of Blood is Kurosawa's 1957 masterpiece version of Shakespeare's Macbeth. It stars Toshiro Mifune, as so many of Kurosawa's films did.
Mm-hmm.
And here we absolutely ruin one of the greatest films ever made. Two loyal samurai serving Lord Suzuki in feudal Japan until one day when one of the men are approached by a mysterious stranger promising them both power. This sets the couple on a course for bloodshed, only to discover that those who fall to the greed and ambition of man rise again as bloodthirsty vampires.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, the castle becomes a nightmarish fortress besieged by blood-sucking vampire warriors. The wife of one of our samurai sees this as her chance to manipulate her husband into murdering the lord and taking the throne. He kills both Lord Suzuki and his best friend, only to see them both rise again. His wife goes mad, and the mysterious stranger foretells of the death of our ambitious samurai at the hands of the vampire army. Our tagline, Throne of Blood,
Yes.
thirsty for power.
Oh my God. Thirsty for power.
Yeah, you see what I did there?
Wow.
I took Macbeth
Yep.
via Akira Kurosawa and turned it into a shitty vampire movie. I did it.
You did it. You did a great job.
I had a really fun time with this.
I still have one left.
Let's hear it, because I'm having a hard time hearing that you're gonna have an idea that was better and more fun than Field of Dreams of Blood.
Well, guess what? Driving Miss Daisy of Blood.
You did it, you son of a bitch! You did it. Happy Halloween.
Set in 1960s Georgia. This revisionist gore fest follows Hoke Colburn, it's Morgan Freeman, as he dutifully chauffeurs Daisy Worth and Jessica Tandy until a group of backwoods cultists carjack them and attempt to use Daisy's Cadillac for a blood-soaked crime spree. Only they don't know that this car has a deadly, even more violent secret. When Hoke reveals the car feeds on racist souls, it's already after the carjackers have been run down and had their hands and heads removed by slamming doors and self-rolling windows. Hoke now is one with the car, takes detours through the Jim Crow South, luring bigots into Daisy's trunk of terror. Tandy, once horrified, soon joins him in purging the hateful one by one, their relationship evolving from awkward employer-employee to gleeful partners in righteous grue. Ends with Daisy whispering, "You're my best friend, Hoke," as the pair run down a Klan meeting. So much blood-spattered white. Directed, as you well might have guessed by the number of times Tandy casually says the N-word, by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, I was seeing this as Spike Lee. I thought I was getting real Spike Lee vibes here for that.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Oh boy.
Sure.
I love this. It's like a reverse Christine.
It is. It's very Christine. Yeah, I agree with you.
Sir, I can't remember the last time I had this much fun coming up with a bottom five. So thank you. Thank you so much
It was fun.
providing the inspiration for this one. I hope that our listeners had fun with it. Of course, if you have your own of blood that you absolutely must share, send us a message. We want to hear it. Not just an email. I don't even know how to check the emails. Send us a voicemail so that we can listen to your pitch for your very own Halloween season of blood. Jay, up next on our trick-or-treating scroll around the neighborhood, it is time for Dueling Double Bill. That segment of the show where we get a couple of randomly generated titles, and then you and I have to program a double bill to go along with each one, coming up with our very own double bill to present to the audience, and then we decide which one of us comes up with the best double bill.
And just to remind everybody, on our special end of the year wrap-up episode, we will be looking back across all of these dueling double bills, finding out which one of us, Mike or I, scored the most points, and the loser has to actually watch one of these double bills as determined by the winner. So that's something to keep in mind as we unveil our first movie of the evening, and it is The Hunger from 1983. Man, that's a Tony Scott flick, I think. Ridley Scott's brother. It was one of his first movies, I think. Very stylish. There's like Catherine Deneuve in it. David Bowie. Yes. And Susan Sarandon. Not Annette O'Toole. I always think Annette O'Toole is in this, and that might be because I already have a movie to pair with it in my head.
Okay.
So, crap. I am this way. I always do this, and damn it, I'm not going to be able to divorce these two now that I've thought of it. So, are we ready for our next film, Mike? Do you want to?
Absolutely. No,
yeah. All right. Here we go.
Sure. We got to get them both.
All right. And this is one of your favorites, I believe, when it comes to vampire cinema. 1987's Near Dark, directed by Catherine Bigelow.
We got two vampire
flicks. Yep.
Ooh,
well, I mean, Bordello of Blood. So
yeah, right.
Makes sense. It's related, and it is Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to Near Dark, not a movie that I really love. And it was like part of the cast from Aliens. I feel like this was at the time when Cameron and Bigelow were dating and stuff. And you had Paxton, you had Lance Henriksen, and of course you had Jeanette Goldstein too, as part of the vampire cult there in Near Dark. And I am coming up with nothing for Near Dark.
Oh, I got it.
I nailed my film to partner with The Hunger, which I almost erroneously called the movie that I picked to partner with it. That's how close these two movies are tied in my head. So I'm going to start with that one because I don't know how strong or weak this pairing is. But if you're a fan of sensuous, stylish, early 80s horror, I would argue that you could not make a better double bill than partnering The Hunger with 1982's Cat People.
Oh.
Directed by Paul Schrader with Nastasia Kinski in it.
Yeah.
Again, you're looking at very stylish, very sensual, very sexy. It also has Annette O'Toole. I always kind of conflate in my mind with Susan Sarandon at that age, that very young age, where they were not being shy on film.
Yeah,
so
I was trying to reverse engineer when you said Annette O'Toole. I was like, what movie is he thinking of?
And I think the main reason why is, if I'm not mistaken, I know that David Bowie contributes a song to Cat People, and it's part of Giorgio Moroder's score. One of the biggest parts of The Hunger, of course, is that David Bowie is in it acting, and of course some of the music's used in it. I feel as though these two just really belong together in a sort of gothic, sexual horror vibe. There's a femme fatale, film noir quality to both of them as well. They're very smoky. They're very 80s in terms of their soundtracks. I'm really sticking to a mood and to a vibe.
Sure. Yeah. And I think you got a little bit of like the vampire and werewolf sort of thing. Cats,
a little
dogs,
bit. Yeah. Cats.
A little bit of the vampire and werewolf thing. I like it. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's good. Cat People is one of those movies that I think is easy to dismiss out of hand until you really stop and think about all of the things. Like, it's a Paul Schrader flick, for crying out loud.
Right. Exactly.
I think when you think of Cat People, it's easy to see it as almost like trashy, like nighttime erotica, and there's more going on in that film.
There's a lot more going on than that, but there's plenty of that too, which I love.
Yeah, The Hunger, like you said, Susan Sarandon, which as we have come to discover is what we'll just call the lesser Sarandon when it comes to vampire movies, right? I mean, Chris Sarandon is the Sarandon of vampire movies. I decided to pair The Hunger with 2013's Only Lovers Left Alive by Jim Jarmusch with Tilda Swinton, who is maybe the closest thing we are ever going to get to another David Bowie as this sort of amazing androgynous mystery of a human being.
You're right.
Only Lovers Left Alive, of course, Tilda Swinton, Tom Hiddleston. They play Eve and Adam, who are these centuries-long lovers, these vampires that have just persisted throughout the centuries, have found their way back to each other and away from each other time and again over the years, this long, complicated romance. And then, of course, Mia Wasikowska shows up and kind of throws a little bit of chaos into the mix. I'm not a big Jim Jarmusch guy typically.
No, I'm not either.
But this is one that lands for me. And so the idea of being able to see David Bowie and Tilda Swinton doing their version of a vampire movie back to back. I think both of these films have a place in queer cinema. I think that could be really interesting. So I that's my pick.
I think Cat People does as well.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
There's an element there too.
Yep.
I would argue this. This is the only argument that I have against yours. Okay. And that is, I feel like Jarmusch did a better movie than The Hunger using what The Hunger was. Like he essentially was taking The Hunger and saying, I'm gonna not remake it, but I'm gonna make a film that's very similar to The Hunger, but I'm gonna make it much better. I'm gonna make it a much better story with better characters, and it's a more fulfilling overall experience watching the film.
We have Anton Yelchin, the rare Anton Yelchin performance.
No, yeah, that's a really good.
John Hurt
this isn't
also
Kick
in
2,
there?
Pick 2. So that it still exists.
Right.
John Hurt, yes. In Cat People, you get John Hurd. That means nothing. I just felt like playing on those two names. All right. I'm going to have to table this one because that's a really close. This is as close as we've ever come to making. I think so.
I agree.
Two really outlandishly good double bills. Those are great. What did you decide to do with your beloved Near Dark?
I don't think this one's going to surprise you much. I think when people come out to Near Dark, they think of it, of course, as kind of a Western vampire flick. Definitely something that is blending genres. And so for me, it's a film I know that I appreciate a little bit more than you do, but you you laid a little bit of the breadcrumbs for it earlier. I'm going, I think, maybe even a little too obviously with From Dusk Till Dawn.
I could see that working. I'm glad that you didn't go with John Carpenter's Vampires.
Yeah.
Because I think that those two very naturally could end up sharing a double bill and be a contrast pairing with a really shitty movie with a good movie. You know what I mean? Because Vampires is dreadful.
It's trash. It is trash.
Oh, it's absolute awful.
You had me clenched for a second. I was like, which one is he going to say is the bad one?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. I can see Near Dark. It's always the same problem that I have with beloved films. Horror fans adore this film.
Of course. Yes. Yeah.
I feel like I'm committing blasphemy when I say that I don't fall over for this movie, and I just don't. And it's crazy. It's a little like Bordello of Blood. It's got a lot of things that I love. It just doesn't quite gel. And I like Bigelow as a director quite a bit. Well, what I decided to go with was kind of a Bill Paxton double feature. When I think of Near Dark, I do think of him. And that led me to the 2001 film Frailty that he directed. That is a very dark psychological thriller.
Great flick.
That stars he and Matthew McConaughey. So I feel as though you've got this sort of dusty prairie kind of vibe to both of those films. You know, I always think of like The Farm, and like with Near Dark, I feel the Western vibe. So that's how these two marry together for me. And of course, Bill Paxton, like bringing it together and making it sort of appealing to the Bill Paxton fans, which apparently I am a stan big time for this guy. I don't know. I never thought he was the greatest actor, not truthfully, but I always liked it when he turned up on screen.
We might be a top secret Bill Paxton podcast. which I'm fine with.
Well, what are we thinking here? What are we thinking? How are we going to be able to decide? This is a tough one, I got to say.
I like both of these. I think that our pairings with The Hunger are both so strong on their own merits, it would be a shame to pick one over the other.
I'm fine with that. You want to call it a draw?
I kind of do. I can
do that. I agree with you.
I'm happy to just give up a point on this last one, mostly because I'm uninspired by my own pick. And I did just rewatch Frailty recently. And although I don't think it pairs super well with Near Dark, I love it enough as a film that I want more people to see, because I do think it is a little bit of a hidden gem. Near Dark is, in its own kind of way, saying something about the American experience, these sort of drifters in the West and all of that kind of stuff. And for me, Frailty, I think, doesn't really get into like bigger themes of American life. It really is just this microcosm of this little family.
I think that there's a larger kind of familial bond that goes on between the vampires and Near Dark, and it's corrupt, right? And the corrupted bond that happens in Frailty with the family, and how both feel as though they're doing heaven's work, right? But they have to shed blood in order for that belief.
So, Jason, I don't know if you're keeping track or you're keeping score. If we call the first one a gentleman's tie, and you get a point for the second one, that must either put us in a tie position or perhaps you took the lead. I don't know.
I think we're at a dead heat right now.
Woo.
I'm going to make the promise that before our next show, I am going to figure out where we actually stand. And we will find out who is ahead and who is behind. But you're going to have to find out on our next episode. Mike, I know it's spooky season and that you're usually down like a clown in a cornfield for whatever October might throw your way, or in this case, November. But I do wonder if maybe there's a line that we're about to cross. Because, Mike, this one's gross.
Okay.
In fairness, there's a reason I'm doing this. We've never really gone into this corner of horror cinema before. It's not entirely obscure. And I specifically remember the cover for this one in my local video store. So it's going to date me and date this a little bit. But I never had the courage to bring it to the front counter, lest I be seen as some kind of deviant. So instead, I want you to be the deviant for me. Because let's be real. If one of us is going to watch a notorious underground piece of filth like this, it's going to be the guy who informed me that there was a whole series of Vomit Dolls movies, which this may or may not have influenced. So I think, I hope you'll be okay with it. Your next Filmjitsu assignment, Mike, is the 1987 West German, quote, romantic horror film, Necromantic.
Wow, you are going there.
The film that John Waters proclaimed as the first ever erotic film for necrophiliacs.
Yes.
I guess we could pretty much leave it at there, but that does bring us to our bottom 5.
Is there a top 5 necrophiliac movie? I don't know.
So for our next episode, we'll cover the bottom 5 romantic horrors, this unholy matrimony of love and terror.
Oh, wow.
These are horror films where passion meets possession, devotion curdles into obsession, and sometimes the greatest horror is simply being loved too much and too weirdly.
I like how casually you're like, we've never really gone down this particular path in horror. It's like, oh, have we not gone into necrophilia yet on our silly podcast? I can't believe we've never done that. But here we are. I hope that our listeners will come back and join us next time when I will review Necromantic. But until then, we have been your hosts. I am Mike.
And I am Dennis Miller.
And we will see you next time, babe. I am going to have to preface this to my wife. Be like, listen, you're about to see something show up on the playlist here. Don't click on it, whatever you do.